Hello everyone, how's everybody doing? It's time for another exciting video from RK Loves Gadgets, and today I thought I'd take a look at this pretty neat talking clock right here. It's a, I think it says Ross up here, and I think it's a model RTC-8. Now, this has a bit of a, there are a couple of stories I have to tell about this clock. The first one is, I bought this talking clock used on eBay, and it was very cheap. I can't quite remember how much I paid for it, probably about £4 something, a little bit in the £4 mark. And it had, I think it had £3 something postage, and it was marked as parts only. So what I did, I contacted the seller and asked, does this clock work at all, and if so, is it usable? And for some reason I didn't get a reply back. So I did read the description. I bought it from an eBay seller called Bat10, and I don't know if it was a he or her, but they did mention in the description that they thought the volume switch was broken, but I think something like that. So I didn't get a reply back to my message. So I purchased it anyway, just to see if it definitely did work. I received it a few days later, and I found that all the switches on the bottom were broken. So I tried some batteries in it, and believe it or not, sure enough, it did work. So everything else works. It's in pretty good condition though, apart from that it has a couple of scratches on it. So all the switches did not work. So it had so a few days later I took it apart and had a go to see if it was actually fixable. And believe it or not, I took it apart. I took the circuit board out, and the switches were just little bits that sit in the bottom of the bottom casing, in bottom part of the case. So I had a look at them, and they had little contact metal bits on the switches that make contact with the circuit board. So they were bent down. They had been bent down. So they must have been pushed in at some point, and they didn't work. So I basically just bent them back into position, and then when I put it all back together, the switches work. So I'm quite pleased with that. For some reason, when I moved the volume switch, it did make a few strange noises. I don't know why or what's gone wrong. I did actually check to make sure I hadn't damaged any components or chips or traces on the board. So for what I know, it's not the batteries. The batteries that I put in there, they weren't directly straight from the packet. But they had hardly been used at all. So they were, I would say, fairly new. But yeah, I managed to get it to work. Now another thing I should mention, so I think that's the first story, all I have to say about that. Another story was, remember back in February 2019, I made a video about the Cobalt Speechmaster T10 talking alarm clock, which looked very similar to this. It looked very similar to this, very similar design. I talked about a video made that the YouTube user lachlant1984 posted back in October 2012. He made a talking clock, made a video about a talking clock, and I really, really liked it. And I did say in my video that I was really wanting to find a talking clock exactly the same as this, and sounds exactly the same. Well, I didn't find a talking alarm clock the same as what he had, but if you listen to this when I press this button, There you go. It sounds just like lachlant1984's talking clock. In fact, I might dedicate this video to lachlant1984. I'm going to get it right. I think I might dedicate this video to lachlant1984, as I had made a couple of comments to him about his clock in the past. So I thought I'd dedicate it to him and let him see it. So let me show you how this works. So you've got this button on the top, you press, and you've got the time. Underneath, you've got the 3 switches. This is what I managed to fix. And you've got a volume switch, and then you've got an hourly report switch, and the bottom one is like a switch that switches between the alarm tones. You've got 2 alarm sounds. You've got a cockerel or a beep. And you've got 4 little buttons. You've got a reset button, an alarm set button, an hour button, and a minute button. And it's also got the LCD screen there, and it's pretty good actually. The LCD screen works pretty well, and it is quite clear. Which amazes me the most, because when I was trying to put when I was fixing this, I tried to put the circuit board back after I realised fix the switches, and I struggled to get the board back. And when I was doing so, the LCD panel came off the board, so I had to sit it in its little holder on this little window thingy on the bottom. I put the circuit board down over it, and I did the screws up nice and tight, so it's nice and secure. But and I was concerned that I would have damaged the display, but turns out I haven't. So that's pretty cool. I'm really pleased that it turned out well. So this is the battery compartment. It takes 4 AA batteries. It just goes in there, and then it snaps back into place. Yeah, so take you through these features. So this is the volume. That's high volume. Move it back down. And that's low volume. And I'm doing that quite carefully because, like I said, this volume switch does make some strange noises. But I found that it doesn't do it when you when you move the switch while it's not talking. So that's okay. So it does work that way. And then, like I said, you've got the hourly report. Now the alarm. So to hear the alarm sound, you can press the top and hold it. So that's your alarm beep, and you can change it to cockerel down here. This switch down here. The switch is a bit stiff. This one. I think I'll just move it carefully. There we go. And now if I press the top button again and hold it. I love the sound of 1980s talking clocks, and I know some people might think that cockerel sounds garbage, but I don't. I like it. In fact, it sounds quite funny because it sounds very unnatural, very unrealistic, but I quite like it that way. I love the sound. I can tell it's obviously like a speech synthesizer, because that's how talking electronics were designed back in the 80s. So it is from the 1980s. Probably it doesn't have a year when it was manufactured, but I would say probably 1986, 1987 sort of era. lachlant1984 said on his talking clock video that he didn't know who it was made by, and he was thinking that his was from the 80s, so probably from exactly the same era, because obviously it has the same voice chip and it does the same things. So I would say they're both probably from the same era, like maybe I would say 1985 or 1986, 1987, sort of along those lines. And if I just show you these 3 little buttons, so you've got the hour button and the minute button. Now there is a drawback to this clock in regards of setting it. Now if you just press the hour and minute buttons, it will just change the time. There is no other button to press or any switch to flick or anything. So these buttons are completely, you press them, you can just press them and it will change the time. I don't really like that because it's not very, if you're carrying it in your bag, in your rucksack or something may knock against these buttons and accidentally change the time. And I had that, it happened to me the other day. I had it in my rucksack and it had changed the time, so I had to put it right. But the alarm, if I just show you, so if you press, I'm just trying to get the right angle here. If you press the alarm button, the alarm set button,
alarm on, it's 5:10 p.m.
the alarm is on. I'm going to press it again.
Alarm off, it's 5:10 p.m.
Now, if you want to set the alarm, press and hold.
On, it's 5:10
You press and hold the alarm set button, and I think you've got the alarm time there blinking. I think it's flashing, and then then keep holding the alarm button, and then press the hour and minute buttons.
Alarm on, it's 6.
You can just keep pressing.
Alarm on.
You can see that the digits are changing there, and this is one tedious thing.
10 p.m.
One tedious thing about this clock, it makes that constant binging sound every time you press the buttons.
Alarm on, it's 9:10 p.m. Alarm on, it's 10:10 p.m.
If I can get this right.
Alarm off, it's
Please excuse me, this is...
alarm on, it's 12:10 p.m. Alarm on, it's 4:10. Alarm on, it's 5:10 p.m.
Right, that's the hours, and then you can also change the
Alarm.
minutes.
Alarm on, it's 5:11. Alarm on,
You can change the minutes there.
5:15 p.m.
You can actually hold the button if you wish, but it's not very quick at cycling through. Now if you want to stop and see where you are.
It's 5:39 p.m.
Yeah, it's not very quick at cycling through as it does, so I prefer to just press it, and it goes a lot quicker.
Alarm on, it's 5:08 p.m. Alarm on, it's 5:10 p.m.
There we go, I'm back to where it was, so I don't want it to go off at the moment, so I'm just going to turn that off.
Alarm off, it's 5:10 p.m.
There we go. And it's so I think you've got talking alarm clock right there, and I think it says an RTC-8, and this up here it says Ross. I think that might be the brand. I can't be sure. So I think it is a Ross brand, and I'll just show you here. It is made in Taiwan. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, I'm quite pleased that I managed to find a talking alarm clock that's not exactly the same as what the YouTube user lachlant1984 had, but it does have exactly the same voice chip. And if lachlant1984 is watching this video, I want to ask, how does he? It makes me setting this clock actually does make me wonder. So I thought I would ask lachlant1984 if he's watching this video, as how I would like. Can he make a video on how to set the talking clock? Because I just want to see the difference between his and mine. Because like I said, you can press and hold the alarm set button, and press the hour and minute buttons to change the alarm. And when you're on the regular time mode, you can just press the hour button and the minute button alone, and it will change the time. Now, I I do still want to get a talking clock exactly like lachlant1984's. The reason for that is that I know on his video, his has like a flap that closes over the controls, and that I think that makes it a bit more travel friendly, if you see what I mean, because the buttons on this one, the controls on this one are completely exposed. So it makes me wonder which one may be better, but I'll leave, if lachlant1984 makes another video about his, I'll let him rank which one is better, whether it's this one or his. And those of you who don't know this video, I will quickly talk about it. I think some of you may know that I talked about it before, but in case you've forgotten, so you go to lachlant1984's YouTube channel, and there's a video called Talking Alarm Clock, and I think it's just over 2 minutes long. Play that video, and you'll see that it's completely different in specs-wise. It's completely different design, different shape, but it has exactly the same voice. I'll just play that for you again. Just there you go. So play that video, have a good listen to it, and you'll notice that the voice is very much the same. There's no difference in it. And if anybody out there is selling a talking clock exactly the same as what lachlant1984 owns, I would love you to let me know. So please send me the link to your eBay store or something, and I will take it from there. Maybe I might. No, I don't know if this is going to work, because I don't know if you're supposed to leave your eBay seller name on YouTube, but I can do what I can. But like I said, I will dedicate this video to lachlant1984, and I think that's pretty much covers it. I don't know if there's anything more I want to say. So I think I've, what can I say? It's pretty neat. I'm quite pleased that I managed to find a talking clock. Not exactly the same as, but I think that's pretty much it. So again, in case lachlant1984 is watching this video, I would like to ask him, put in a request to him that I would like to see a video on how the settings on his talking clock work, if he still has it, that is, just so I can see the difference between how he sets his and how I set mine, because I am quite curious. And also, he can. I'll let him say which one is better, whether it's this one or the one he has, because I generally think, because his had a flap that covers the controls, so like if say you carry it in a bag or something, nothing's gonna accidentally change the settings much like this one, much like occurs with this one. So I'll leave it with him. So I hope everybody enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on push notifications, and as lachlant1984 used to say, feel free to leave a comment if you have one.